Hey yo, what's up? It's your boy NoAiz. We're back again with some Phoenix, alright. Hey yo, we're gonna try and finish this today. You bet my ass we're gonna put the man in jail. Let's go. February 25, 9:47 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. This is the defendant lobby, alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Who's this? Oh, it's my boy! Edward! Knowing you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 77 ID number is, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Yep, it's that man. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt it will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, right? And Chief Prosecutor Sky will be found guilty. But you didn't do it! I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, right? This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gat has on her, it's now. February 25, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 9. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gat. Oh my god, you bitch! Morning, folks! How's everyone doing? Hey, Aji, been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning in enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one! I don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. How about fuck you and your fabulousness, guy? Oh my god, pretty Lana, you're pretty. What is this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make a simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21 of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana! Let's go, Phoenix! You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening! It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court defines the defendant. Edward, help me, my boy! Edward! Edward! Yes, my boy! One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edward? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes? Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you have me be. Oh my god, bye-bye! With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Sky. I request that the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edward, I am exercising my right to self-representation. Hi, Kiamat, welcome. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Sky. The exposure of truth sometimes results in a tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy? You'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Fuck you. Fuck you, fabulous man. Miss Emma Sky, please take the stand. Looks like Edward has decided to take the horse by the reins. What's happening? Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation.
My name is Emma Sky. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister and I want to be a scientific investigator.
2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct?
Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that though.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Thanks. Thanks, I guess. Mr. Edward, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Oh, well, okay then. You sure gave in fast. And now? Please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. Alright, let's go. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. Let's go! Witness testimony 2 years ago.
I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me. But I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. then raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest.
It's a good thing you weren't harmed.
I passed out. I don't remember much.
That's understandable, however. Please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't think we have anything to contradict, so I think we're just gonna press. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct?
Yes, she was second in command under the Deputy Chief of Police, Gant. My sister, she was the best detective ever.
Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Sky used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office.
That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day too.
The police department and the prosecutor's office held the ceremony that day.
Lana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work.
Can you call me what? What? No? If you mean call me like call me, no. If you mean like call me something, depends on what you want. A man came running and took me hostage. A man?
Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer.
Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw the chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky and Gant's office.
There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him.
What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were 2 people present during Dark's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Almost forgot about Gant. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark.
When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was good as dead.
And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in?
I don't clearly remember what happened then, but
can you tell us about that?
Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out.
The lights?
It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck.
So the electricity went out? Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right?
Right, but just then the lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind.
I see.
I told the detective about what I saw then.
The detective?
Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case.
Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. Hear more. Of course, hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago?
Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial.
And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw?
Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture.
A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? This picture the witness drew. I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony?
Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene, but it seems to have been lost.
I shall present this thing. Objection! Mr. Edward, this little girl put all her heart into that drawing. Into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. Now, well, that may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it... Oh! What's this? Yes, what is that?
Hey, that's it! That's the picture I drew!
Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. I stole it from Chief Gant's room. Huh? This list, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edward, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edward, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? Order, order! But Miss Sky, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list?
Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor.
Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor! Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edward's list. Yes, that is quite conceivable, Mr. Edward. It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing. It's Badger. It's Mr. Badger. It's Badger Sand. That thing was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Emma, did you draw this, bruh? Very well, witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago?
Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor.
What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. Emma's picture.
This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were the shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant.
To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. This is the... Oh, okay, this is the picture I draw. I guess we just press. Did you draw this picture right after the incident?
I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything.
During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gant and Lana Sky. 2 or 3 days later, the memory should still have been fresh in her mind. Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted in all black? So at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue?
No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor.
You were knocked to the floor?
Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed.
Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place?
No, I'm sorry.
The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here.
Anyway, this picture shows exactly...
Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw?
Of course! This is the exact scene!
It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives? Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. I'd better watch out or he might find some way to cut my salary.
I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me.
Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Huh? Oh, well... That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet there's clearly a contradiction here. This being a blunt? I mean, that's so far-fetched though. Cause it might be just, you know, artist interpretation. I don't know. So what I'm getting at here, right? Because this is, yeah, this was the knife, right? Which makes sense, because, you know, it was blunt. But if it's blunt already, then the tip shouldn't have been in the body. Oh, I was wrong. Fuck. Maybe the knife tip? Objection! I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction.
What? But I still remember it just like yesterday.
Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? This one. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. Alright, so at least it worked out. But I'm like, that's kind of far-fetched, but it is square. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright.
But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See, the murder weapon, its tip is broken too.
If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body.
It was the conclusive evidence of piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer.
I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah, what's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. And that's right, but what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness' memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. There's a lot of room for doubt in this one, so well, it's a contradiction still, so I guess. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. There is. If the evidence was planted. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already about the little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ugh. Order, order, order! Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in the story, there is a lie.
I'm not lying. The man really was holding up the broken knife.
If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's? Could there have been one? Oh, it's this one. You can remove it? It's sharp enough to be a knife? Bruh. There is another one. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error.
Mr. Wright!
In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife? I do. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. Ah! What is it, Mr. Edward? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding. It has a sword.
That's a broken knife!
Technically a broken spear, supposedly, or sword. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Order! Order! Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shielded knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Why can you pull it out? It should be just a trophy. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edward? Because if the King of Prosecutors' award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, the man raising the knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh! But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions.
Emma? Wait! I remember now! I remember everything!
Witness?
Mr. Edward!
What is it?
Could you show me your evidence list again, please?
His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back?
I knew it! This picture! I'm the one who drew it!
What? You drew that?
That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me.
Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness testimony. Will you please tell us what you recalled, Miss Guy?
Yes, Your Honor.
First the knife mix-up and now the blue badger? This should be interesting.
When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow.
This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even assigned him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin discussing...
Stop! Please! Don't pursue this any further!
Lana, what's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair.
But you can't do this!
I already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Sky, we've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Emma's recollection.
When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow.
The blue badger didn't even exist 2 years ago. So what exactly did Emma see? I've gathered all the evidence. All that's left now is to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Alright. It's probably this, yeah? It's an I mean, this is longer, but it's an upside shape. The mysterious blue badger was in fact this! It looks like a blue badger if you turn it upside down. What's that, what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar.
But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look like anything like the blue badger.
What do you mean, turn it upside down? Indeed, it doesn't, as it stands now. It's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? We've got to show them the correct angle to look at. Oh. Oh shit, I didn't mean. Sorry. Like that? That seems about right. That looks right. Huh? Well, it's not like this because it's too far. So it is like this. Oh my god. I don't know! How do I know how exact I need to be? It looks like it. I think it looks like it. Does it not look like it? How exact am I supposed... like that? Oh fuck. That seems about right. Does it want me to put it higher? Fuck. I don't know. It seems about right. I don't know how exact they want me to do it. That looks about right. Wait, I'm gonna search this. Phoenix Wright. Vase rotate. Holy hell, who's the right idea was it to make the proper way of position this to the bay? I had to use a guide for the base. It's just a pain in the ass. Oh my god, they want it. This is stupid. So apparently, what they want me to do, right, is do it like this. Fucking bitch. Well, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this jar's resembles to the blue badger. I was trying to match the actual blue badger, not her drawing. No, it can't be! Order, order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What is your point? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar? That doesn't change anything. There's evidence on the jar, because there's blood. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edward. You see, this changes everything. Indeed, very well then. Please tell us. What's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? The location. Alright, location. Why is location gonna be different? Because the location would mean the jar would have been on Gant's side of the room. I'm not sure how that is a reason, you know? The murder weapon? I don't think so. The murderer? I'm not sure if the murderer. Maybe the location? Allow me to take this in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime scene. It's on the shelf in the office of Damon Gant. Oh, that side. Mia's side. It looks like Mia's side because the table is there, but... No, actually, never mind. No, that's not. It's on Gant's side. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness herself, the witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired, you see? The struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office. And so, Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body? From Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? No, someone else moved it. Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he would have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I don't know. I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now though. I have not figured it out, Phoenix. Could you please tell me? Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now then tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to have been the impact of the man made when he was knocked into the wall? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? The very sharp-ass knife? Ah! The suit of armor holding a very sharp and dangerous-looking sword. Yes. Since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to be near the marshal wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No, Mr. Wright. Oh, we're framing Emma. Emma knocked Neil Marshall thinking he was Joe Dark. And then he was knocked to the armor. Yes, there's another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility. Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this. No, let's just go through with it. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorized, then the outcome is obvious in that moment. Assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Huh. That's so weird. Okay, cool.
You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me?
Possibly.
No!
I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall? How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. How dare you pin the crime on Edger, boy? If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Mr. Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, certainly. It would be difficult to prove this with evidence. Damn, parang haba ng case ni Lana. Yeah, it's pretty long. But we are at the last trial. Well, this is the former, so there's a part 2 of the trial, and I hope we finish it now. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. No, we do have evidence. We have the jar and the cloth with the fingerprints. Touché, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edward? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or worse, Mr. Marshall did not die. Oh, it's the letters in the jar. He may have left behind the name of a person who took his life. In one manner or another. That's impossible! Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? It does! The real murderer's name the victim may have left behind is in the evidence! This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright! Will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek, the truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. Ah, fuck! I didn't click! No! Right, now then. Sorry, I didn't mean I accidentally clicked it. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. A message was left here on the surface of this jar. That doesn't make sense, because if it was left on the surface of the jar, but it was knocked over when he was... It was knocked over when he was tackled by Emma, then it should have been broken. So I assume it fell and then broke. So there shouldn't have been any time for him to write on it. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of the blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason, the blood on the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there is a line here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave a message. That doesn't make sense. One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped through into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No! Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these blood stains will reveal us the answer. We got to connect these dots to make the letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written given the circumstances. His murderer's name. Oh, I'm actually gonna write it. Oh, wow, we're actually writing, my dudes. There you go. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I've never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind? That's not true. This is also false evidence, I think. Made by Chief Gaunt. Of all, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Sky. To be continued? Seaworthy? Can't say I didn't warn you. What about it? We're just here to say the truth. Emma's probably not going to jail because she's a minor and she was a victim and she didn't know what she was so she didn't know that it was Neil Marshall holding the knife. So even if she did kill her, or rather if she did kill him, I think it would be fine. Chief Gant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? But the one who falsified the evidence was Lana and you, Chief Gaunt. Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. That's not his fault. But Joe Dark was really a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know we are defenders of justice? What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter, even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Is that true? That seems very irresponsible of them. Because there's someone who holds the evidence, and if the person who falsified evidence gave it, they obviously intended to kill, intended for this for the defendant to get prosecuted, and that's ultimately is their fault. I mean, it's the fault of the collective because Edward also didn't notice that it was weird that he didn't have enough evidence and all that shit. But despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? How can he just stand there like it was his fault? Order! 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 The Gavil's founding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. To be continued? Let's go! Alright, that's part 1. We're halfway! Yeah, well, we're halfway there. That's the lyrics, right? I forgot. I'm not sure. February 25, 12:06. The district court, defendant lobby number 2. Sorry, Edward. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. I hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Oh, wait, Detective Gumshoe. What is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. On top of it you call me here? I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again? Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law. Evidence law. Edward was talking about this just the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Most of our evidences are not approved by the police department though, so that seems weird.
You can at least study some evidence law, really.
The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said if you're planning on taking him on, you're going to need this book. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Evidence law securely slipped into pocket. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in the prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edward! The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Scott found out she's unwittingly caused the man's death. And now you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal! You're just missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? We're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Let's go! We're gonna finish this today! February 25, 1252, District Court, Courtroom number 9. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Mr. Edward? Yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, ahem. Normally, this is where the prosecution called for a witness, but, ahem. This isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edward, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that, it's just, you see, everyone has been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edward has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright? You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls, the time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Alright, I guess the real murderer is gone. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have habit, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. Alright, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. I really want to slap Gant for no reason at all. He's fabulous, but I just want to slap the hell out of him, you know? Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir? Wordy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation? So you want to play hardball, eh? But please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, right. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean the time when Lana's sister murdered the prosecutor? Personally, I think it's already been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You're aware, of course, that the police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Are you threatening me in the court, sir? Weapons? Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify and then don't. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Which means he's also not allowed to speak anymore, right? Which means he can't defend himself either. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony. Alright. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. The power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. The police chief has the right to refuse to testify. Then I better hit him hard and fast. But what? Let me look and see if there's any contradiction. Alright, let's just press. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic, hehe. After winning this award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spoke Dark and made him run away like that. Was the defendant, Lana Sky, also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran off. To make a long story short, we slipped up. The power outage didn't help either. Alright. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. What's this about the power outage? Oh, that! The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went into his heart though. Ha ha ha! That's not funny. Could you tell us what you saw? It was the shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor. Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls. Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved. So that means you found the body near Lana's desk. That's right. I think you said it earlier. It was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. Then there should have been blood there. Oh, I guess she cleaned it up. Yes. Anyway, as you can see, I had nothing on it, press. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office? That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt. But moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Is that really how it went out? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd better off staring at the court record. Alright, worthy, always a smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Gan to the forgery? Did Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I got to link this incident to Gan. We're gonna save. And I think we might need the vase. Because, not this yet, not this. Well, maybe that too, but we've shown the vase already, so... You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery? But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Now explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar for example. That's the blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier were all illegal evidences I got by sneaking into your office and taking them without your consent. Thank you very much. Was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these are articles of evidence uncovered in your office. Are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. And I also did some illegal investigations of my own. Thank you very much. Chief Gant, what is the meaning of this? Huh? Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then? That you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? Or you mean you? Yeah, I was going to say me. Why would I have to do anything with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. You can't really do that. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office. Is he just gonna claim that he doesn't know? And in relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene? My. Kids these days no longer know how to put 2 and 2 together. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? We're know you could have implanted them in my office. Anyway, you can prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Am I gonna have to prove that it does help him? Yes, Your Honor. When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. I'll deal with the consequences after we put you in jail, it's fine. Indeed, I believe I will press charges so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Alright, Jean returned though. I know, that place, right? How, what are these guys, telepathic? Is there evidence that I didn't, that proves I didn't? I'd appreciate if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. He could say the same back to me. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that, huh? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped a cow? Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when the writer's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigations was illegal. Grr. I never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Anyway, you can prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course, but suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. But hiding evidence, yeah. If concealing evidence found that the crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, righto? It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right? The chief is talking about the possibility, so long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come on now, righto? Think about it. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here, but in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you reap from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is it? That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh, the resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edward? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Gah! It's Lana. It's putting Lana at the prosecutor's office. Be careful when pointing the finger on, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. I think he's gonna say he doesn't do that. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. It's out in the open. Audrey, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. Nothing in it for you. Sorry, but the only person I truly care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to have a lax enough. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? There is. Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? No, point out an accomplice. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I meant. Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Of course, Lana. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky? The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Sky fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would have want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Sky was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Wow, the judge is down. Oh wait, you must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Sky in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Right, oh my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana? She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than a mere conjecture. Unless, that is also what happened in this incident. In this incident, or which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better off watch your time. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious, huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency to accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible! It's not impossible not to accuse him. I did it. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edwards said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of law, is involved in this murder? Good question. In Bruce's murder, yes. Regardless of his title or rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. This question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then, let me save. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman this one. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner yesterday. 777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. I mean, that's not really a good one, but cool. Order, Chief Gant. What do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations, and I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you. What about the use of this ID card? Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Oh, of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. But there is no guilt, Your Honor! No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant. The only thing I can think of is this one. Oh, can only be submitted to the chief of police, that's right. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filed out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. You two are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. If he filed it, how do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to. Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh! Detective Goodman took the form from you, Chief Gant. And then you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. That I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman? I didn't say that. Exactly. But wait, the chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort.
Objection!
Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you really had lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. That's true. Oh my god, that's a cool animation sprite. Chief Gun, you didn't. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright. The victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're still the chief of police. You have the entire police force at your disposal. No, he used Edgeworth. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gunn, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought I was a useless clue, just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gunn used... it's either... No, it's not it. This one. Because he wanted Edgeworth to go get it for him. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with the case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... Wow! I was asked to go, but Chief Gant no less. He told me he wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean I... The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car? Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transfer evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transfer the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Sky. Order! Order! What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe... Your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Rido, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? The police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like Wright to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Sky dispose his body? No. And Lana's not credible at this point. Do I have any concrete proof? It's no use. Showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor, please. At present I have no conclusive evidence. See, Aji? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto? It seems the lady luck was on my side again today. Okay, Aji, I'll leave the rest to you. He's actually leaving, okay. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to the senior officer in our nation's law enforcement legacy. What? Objection! Oh my boy. Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edward, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. Lana? A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method is a method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Mr. Edward, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling the witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls for it. The defendant, Miss Lana Sky? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21. Her task to dispose of the victim's body, in accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edward, prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well, the court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in... Hold on! Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. Judge! Judge, he's threatening the defendant right in front of the court. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. She already is. We already proved it. This isn't good. Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway. Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. February 25 to 4 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edward. Chief, he's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe. Ah ha ha, I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry, I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gun's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said? But Chief, that is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risk? What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Is that Emma? It is Emma. Emma, are you okay?
Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery.
So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before.
No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved.
Relieved?
Yeah, now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by the terrible man, and she did it all just to protect me.
Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders? She must have shut herself out deep inside. To force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold.
It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall.
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. True.
Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor.
I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Alright. Emma, why don't you wait here?
No, I'm going with you.
I'm sure... Well, okay.
I want to be there when Nana tells the truth.
Let's go, right? It's time to end this. Let's go. Oh, to be continued. There's 3 parts? Bruh. How long was that one? 40 minutes. Oh my god. We probably have like another hour or something. Is this the final one? Please be the final one. Trial ladder 2? How many trial ladders is this? This should be the final one, right? February 25, 2:21 p.m. District Court, Courtroom number 9. Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, please take the stand? Miss Lana Sky, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edward, you already know everything. You know all that I've done this past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Sky. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, the truth.
Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister.
Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with the Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. Gant and the fabrication. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dart convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to the capital offense. Of course I'm sure.
But Lana!
If this is true, then that means Chief Gun has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning.
Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me.
But what if she's telling the truth? I don't think so. Of course not. Of course not.
She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony.
Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Okay. Bruh. Alright, press. How many years exactly? Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see, I was 24 then, so that would be 5 years. Detective Gunn and Detective Sky were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. Oh, he was a detective then. She must have been good, coming from the same school as Mia. Demon Gunn was a respectable detective, that's why. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. But think about it, Miss Sky. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail. You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And... Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him.
Lana!
So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago. You say you did this all by yourself. Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor's award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Oh, she's lying. Alright. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change my statement. You mean the prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. Saw how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. Oh, just to protect me. We all know that, Emma. Stop speaking. Now, when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, then moved the body. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound, and you moved the body? But why? Why would you do all that? You of all people should know, Edward. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but I ought ask for the sake of others. Why did you plant the knife? Why did you do that? Come now, Mr. Wright. Even you should be able to figure it out. Very well, let's add this to the witness testimony. The reason Miss Sky fabricated the knife. I knew the tip of the weapon found buried in his body would be all the proof we needed. Wait, I'm gonna do this and then choose the other one. Why she moved the body? Why did you move the body? When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? where you deduced it was, by Chief Gat's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Sky moved the body. Alright, press. Oh shit. I knew the tip of the weapon found buried in his body would be all the proof we needed. According to your testimony, Prosecutor Marshall's broken knife was the murder weapon, right? Yes, and leaving it at that might point the blame away from Dark. I felt the most effective way to get him convicted would be by having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body. So you buried it inside the victim's stab wound? Yes, because I hated Dark for what he did. Alright. Wanna press this and say... I assume it's not the two, because they're changing the testimony based on what you use. So I don't think we're gonna press any of those. The pieces of the jar shattered during the events threatened my plan. Oh, my thing! If it was thrown when... Oh, we can prove to her that it wasn't actually Emma who killed him, and that the writing on the vase was a lie. Pieces of the jar, you mean? Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. So, when you first found the body and the jar was already... Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead, and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during the struggle. I see. What's the matter, Emma? Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed, but I have a feeling there's more to it than that. Yeah, I do know. There must be a contradiction here somewhere. Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone. Wait, I must save because I'm not sure if showing the base would be the thing. But I think if we prove to her that Emma has nothing to do with this, she will tell the truth. Objection! Miss Sky, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction in my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutors must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so, and this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must have not yet been broken before he died. He couldn't have written Emma's name on that shattered jar. Order! Order! Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we are headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Very well, the witness may now continue her testimony. Jar and message in blood. I immediately noticed the blood trace on the jar, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. But he didn't get one. All I could think was wiping them clean before they were discovered. There's a contradiction. You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't Chief Prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. So what happened is Chief Gant tried to frame Emma so that when Lana sees the scene, she would try and falsify evidence. Alright. I also say present the jar again, I guess. Objection! Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth that even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about the final piece. There was still blood on it. What the witness just testified. She gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off them. Yes, which leave us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. But couldn't the defendant have simply missed the piece? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes some mistakes. Even I wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. When they were... Okay. Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time he was looking for Dark downstairs. Wow, we're just cutting the judge off. The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? No. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposely hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Sky believed her sister, Emma, killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create the evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason why Emma Sky became the chief's puppet. No, I did it on my own.
Please, sis! Stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake.
No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client. I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Wait a minute. What if it wasn't Emma? We're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana may be right after all. What do you mean, Mr. Wright?
So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright?
Miss Sky, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie.
But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall.
Miss Sky, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is still a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Alright, the witness may testify once more for the final time. Actual crime scene. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor sword. Emma and Dart were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor sword. You were the only one who saw that. If you only had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What, to me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that.
Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright? She really does have faith in you.
Very well, I don't remember seeing any pictures from Lana.
Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right?
I seem to remember getting something from her.
Let's check that evidence again. There must be a pictures in there somewhere.
The evidence law book.
Oh my god, look at this cute! Pia.
There you go. Hey, there's a picture here.
Oh my! This is the actual crime scene!
No other detective saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Lana's picture inserted into the court record.
Mr. Wright! The piece cut out of his vest, could that be?
The plot we found inside Chief Gant's safe. What's this? It has Lana's print though, or rather Emma's print.
This is a handprint, isn't it? That plot, it had fingerprints on it. Whosever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer.
What? But those fingerprints? They're yours, Emma!
Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright?
Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murder. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Bro, this is so long. Actual crime scene. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body. Oh. Is it Gant? Yeah, it's Gant.
Hey, you said you revoked your rights to testify. Get the fuck out of my courtroom, you bitch!
Come now, Raji. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant. What now? You want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. But you said no earlier, fucking bitch. So shut the fuck up. Go in the side. Shut. Keep your mouth quiet. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Yeah. Look at this, it's so cool. That's Wright. So what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. Then shut the fuck up starting now. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't, but someone does. Someone. So what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves you knocked over Mr. Marshall, causing his death? Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. Is this true, Mr. Wright? I will lie if they give me a chance. To spite the bitch. If I show the piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made as the murderer. Alright, we'll not show it. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I'd better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed cannot show evidence. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie? Do you have proof I'm lying, Chief Gat? Shut the fuck up! You forfeited your right to testify. Go at the gallery and keep your mouth shut, okay? Chief Gat? You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Mr. Wright, why don't you show them?
Shut the fuck up, Emma. Shut the fuck up.
We found it together.
Shut the fuck up. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gat? Can't you figure it out?
Why is he still talking? He forfeited his right to testify. He should be out of here now. Bailiff, please escort this man out of the room.
Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like a part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of police department. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gal right, huh? Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened.
Why is he still here? He forfeited to testify. Shut him up.
What? You mean you admit to it?
Judge, he has no right to speak in front of the court. He said so earlier.
I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana.
So you really were manipulating her?
I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky? I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid two pieces of evidences. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance. Of course. Insurance. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar arrangement? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too? Ho ho ho! Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Rido, cough it up already. I know you have it.
What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright?
So you admit to it then, Chief Gant? That you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as the murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Rido. You should have shown it when you went then before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, the victory is mine. Seems like they want me to show the evidence, so we'll do it. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marcia. I'm not sure I like your question. I don't think this is the person who murdered Prosecutor Marcia. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh, yes, at last. You finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the letter. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean... it could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Oh-ho. You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Wright had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that?
Mr. Wright, do you really know?
Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Hey, Judge! Let's not jump to conclusions. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well, I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. I don't know what you predicted, right? The person whom these fingerprints belong to is... Emma? Emma Sky?
What?
They're mine? Sorry, Emma.
But why? Why didn't you tell me?
Oh ho ho! You're really something, Ryo. You know this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true, tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Mr. Prosecutor Marshall to his death. Wait! She did push her, but we don't know if she killed her yet.
How could you? You monster!
Mrs. Sky.
He knew whose fingerprints those were all along, and yet you acted like she really didn't.
Miss Sky, it's not over yet.
What?
I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha! But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy! What's the matter, Cat your Tang? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear off. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you're absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Sky, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool blabbing about? I think it might have been... Wait. It's the blood. Why is there no blood on it? I'm talking about the contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth. What could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. What exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the pieces of his vest was cut off? Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs were no doubt punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth... Wait, there's no blood on it! Ugh. Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely had hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Sky? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the arm or sword. Grr. Then to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write Emma on her name on the jar. Write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue and make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out the bloodless piece of the victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, You proved that you were the actual murderer. Look at this, it's so cool, this Wright. It's finally over. Oh my god, there's more? Oh, that was close, Ryder. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean, refute these allegations? You see that piece of cloth? It's illegal evidence. I have the book of evidence law or whatever. Legal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Haji? Earlier, all Rido here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse? Rido, you do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence.
But that's not fair.
Ooh, did you actually think you could best me in court? Looks like the last laugh's on you, son. Hello. I'm afraid Mr. Grant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True, illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person, assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright? It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, you admit to it? That you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? I did not. I did not illegally. I admit, I refused to present it at one point. Aha, so the evidence is legal. Objection! No, it isn't, Mrs. Durgant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's just that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Waji, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe. There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule number 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and... Sorry, but can you recall when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No, he's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh yes! No! It was then that you approved this plot as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this plot. The only person who could have caught this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before the prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. There's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant, the killer was you! No, wow, okay. Cool. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years, he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. While your crime wasn't exactly petty, he wanted to investigate the case. He recruited Angel Star and then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden, he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was talking and as he was taking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken back by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it, that accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would only lead to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I hadn't realized my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess, too. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then, you put the body in my car? I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Grr. Leaving the prosecution's far side, how? How could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker? I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments in the glove. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it on to them. They do their jobs well, as much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals? I can feel it. You and me were the same. One day you will understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. Okay. Well, it looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Waji. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be, long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Aji. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Wright here and Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes. First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done this past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My, what a high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? After a few years from now, you just might make it to the top. Oh, I'm not sure how to deal with this smile. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edward. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edward. Stop it. I only did my job. Finally smiled, right? She's pretty. I really like Lana. I think she's my favorite girl as of right now. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky? Yes, Your Honor. You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. Yeah, Edward being there again, right? I guess. I mean, you know, prosecutor. She was chief prosecutor, so I'm sure Edward looked up to her as well. You know, so being praised outright might have been nice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy crimes. Hey, we got it! Well, this trial has gone on for far too long already. Yes, it has been. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, not guilty! Woo! That is all. This court is adjourned. February 25, 5:03 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. At long last, it's finally over! Why are you sad? Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't completely get off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit.
No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended.
I can see why Mia Faye thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edward. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Oh my god, what the fuck? You've done well.
You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe. There you go. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run all around while on duty? On top of that, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. You've said this before. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding.
Oh, are you here because of my sister again?
No, not this time. I came today because of you, pal.
Me?
That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone.
Oh, there you go. There she is. Lana!
Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology.
It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it.
That day 2 years ago was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess.
Sis!
I asked God to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared how you'd react if you knew.
But sis, you were only doing it for me.
No.
Huh?
I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you.
Sis!
I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry.
But sis, you don't...
What the fuck? I saw that, bitch.
Where the fuck are these things coming from, bro?
I wonder if that was seen in the camera. Where are all these things coming from? My chair? Maybe I just panicked. Maybe there was nothing on my eyes. We'll see. We'll see later. I'll watch the VOD.
But sis, you don't have to apologize.
What was it? I can see it. It was like a big ant. What is the big ant? What do you call the big ants? It went on my glasses.
I'm happy now.
You're happy?
Of course.
Baka gamo-gamo. Maybe. Maybe it is.
You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have.
She looks nice. Oh, Emma. May lumipad sa may ilaw mo. No, there's nothing. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is try to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find a way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on towards Nah, there's nothing. At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe. Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Mr. Oh, Edward! 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 Stop hiding and come over here. Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edward.
Right, well, I'll be going now. No, Edward, come back! Mr. Edward, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly. She's prettier when she smiles. I really like Lana. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. What the fuck is this, Edward? We're all happy and now you're bringing the mood down, bro. Become edgy later. No matter what anyone may say, I realized today that I can't correct my mistakes.
Mr. Edward!
Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gaunt was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me were the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edward, who knows? I've given enough time. I might have tried to pull something like that, like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edward, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You're not alone, Edward! Trust us! You weren't alone. Yay! You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz?
Come on, Mr. Wright, show them what Lana's talking about.
Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edward nor I would have been able to find on our own. Oh shit! Oh shit! No! Can we save? Wait, let me save! No! What is it? What is evidence? Oh, is it this thing? This two? Because we have each of the pieces, right? He has one, I have one, so it wouldn't be together. This one.
That's the picture I drew!
Our counterattack began with this. He had one half of the evidence list and I had the other. It's just like us and our relationship together, Edward. It's like my heart. My heart. In my heart, you have its place. No, you have my heart and I have yours. Whatever the fuck. Together as one. Finally, today, we became one. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edward. Let's go. It's time for me to go.
Mr. Edward!
If you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need dropping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. How about me? Say take care. No! Say bye to me, Edward. Edward, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can't let what happened kill... What? You can't let what happened kill the prosecutor in you. I think it's supposed to... Wait, what? or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know, it seems I owe you my thanks too, right? Oh! But what I face now is my problem. Oh, Edward! Oh! Edward, I'll be waiting for you in court. We'll have our date someday in court. Someday. Farewell. Edward! I'd better get going too.
Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon.
It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you.
Scientific investigation?
It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well.
Thanks, sis. I will.
Lana's so pretty. And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Edward! Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh?
Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side.
Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright, here's the one who will be put in the bill. Can't Lana pay for her own? I mean, she is my client, you know. Huh? Huh? What, you think I could afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh?
Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best.
Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go.
Oh. It's a credit scene now. Oh. I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. I hope she'll be pleased to study under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I'll manage to find my way back into the field somehow. Then, I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Nice. Oh my god, we're almost 3 hours. Hey, it's been a while since we streamed the full length of our stream time. Yikes, I thought I was a goner for a moment there. In the end though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. If we penalize you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. True. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show you can't shake me off that easily. I guess that's one way to look at it. I feel like we didn't really use the fingerprints and blood thing more. There could have been more for that. Oh, Meekins! My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy! Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard! My partner is keeping an eye on the entrance for me today! I'll show them though! Someday I'm going to make detective! Yes sir! Then I can be just like Dick Gumshoe! Oh, Gumshoe's your role model? Okay. Just chillin'. Oh, it's the Blue Badger. Oh yeah, on Wednesday. I think I'm gonna move the Genshin Wednesday. I'm not sure if I'm gonna move it earlier, like in the day, or I'm gonna move it like earlier a day, like on Tuesday or something. I have a date on Wednesday. What is this? Can you see I'm having a showdown, me partner? Miss Star managed to sneak this in for me. She's saying, I can't. Well, Cowboy, looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. Can you make sure Billy and the gang get their water? I have a date. I'm just watching stuff with someone online. They called it date, so it's a date, I guess. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu. Top layer tastes bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is good. Just make sure not eat it backwards. Yeah, so what's this? A VTuber child. which is weird, because when you're someone who created a VTuber, you're their mom. But in our case, the thing is, she's my wife. So it's a date. Anyways, it said it's been... Anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I better... oh no, I forgot my game bill. Sorry, I gotta go. They wanted to watch something. And I was like, fine, alright. Cool. I'll watch. Nothing suits the soul like fresh country air. What you gonna watch? Some trashy. Still, I can't go back until I'm full-fledged spirit medium. Mystic, my afternoon train is about to begin. Coming! Well, see you around, Nick. What's this? We're gonna watch some trashy American TV shows. I think, if I remember correctly, the one she wanted to watch is Too Hot to Handle. It's like a blind date show or whatever. We watched Love is Blind Japan a long time ago, and they were cute. They were not trashy at all. Japan very... Mr. Edward, oh, what the fuck are you doing here? Mr. Edward, I brought your tea. What's going on? Oh my god, he resigned! Edward resigned! But yeah, we watched a long time ago. So I haven't talked to them since... Well, I've talked to them, but we haven't hanged out, you know, in a long time, ever since I quit the VTubing thing. So they asked me if I was free this week, and I was like, oh, sure. So I'm doing that.
A little sad, but whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book.
Oh, now we can open. Is there a picture? What's this? Oh, that's nice. So when Lana was young. Oh, that's cute. But yeah, we watched Love is Blind Japan a long time ago. Last year. It was something. It wasn't trashy though. But it was something. They were very good people. Japanese on a blind date, nicer than you would expect. So this time they wanted to watch something that's really trashy and full of drama, and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Alright, well then, that's Phoenix Wright. I don't think there's a continue to this. Yeah, there's no more. So we finished the first game. I guess Justice for All is the next one. I don't think we're gonna play Phoenix Wright for a long time. We'll hold up on that. But we finished the first game. Yay! That's the end for the first game. I was planning on playing Stray supposedly next week, but if my package comes by, I'm not gonna schedule anything. Because if my package comes by, I'm immediately gonna go away. I'm gonna immediately move out and go back to my sister. So we're just waiting for my package to come by. Actually, let me see. Because I wanted to do Stray first, because I know Stray is a short game. And I wanted to do like a shorter game before I do Nier again, because I want to do the second part of Nier. There's no update on it yet. But estimated delivery time is February 3. That's still long later, but yeah. So I'm thinking that it will come by this week. So I'm not gonna plan anything for now. I'm not gonna schedule any streams, but I might stream depending on, you know, if I had the time. But yeah, that's gonna be it for Phoenix Wright. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for stopping by, whatever. It was a very long-ass trial, but we got through relatively with no issues. I think I only have like issues with the investigation parts. Those take a while. Because at least in the trial, you know you're looking for something wrong and you're gonna contradict it. But on an oh my god, bro! Look, see? Did you see? Do you see it now? I can't see if you can see it. It's on my glasses. Why do they like my glasses? Can you see it? I can't tell. Wow, it won't move. Can you please go away? Ah, it's still there. I can't see it. Is it? I can't. I'm blind. It's like jump scaring me, bro. Why do they want my... Why do... That ain't go. Why do they want my glasses, bro? There's so many things they can like go on. Why my glasses is the choice? Bruh. Wait a moment. It's probably from my chair, right? But I'm not seeing like a trail. There's nothing. There's nothing. Why? How? I'm confused. But yeah, so yeah, that's the thing now, I guess. I don't know where they come from. They just keep appearing. For some reason. Why? But anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. I'm not sure when the next stream will be. We'll just go with it when it happens. But yeah, thanks. And bye bye.